Hello and welcome to Your Story, Your Tune. Every week we share a real story sent in by one of you, finishing with the song that means everything to them. Tonight's story is about loyalty. The kind that doesn't need words, the kind that asks for nothing back. It's about what we owe the ones who save us, and the strange courage it takes to finally say that out loud. Tonight's story comes from Sienna, a primary school teacher in South Stack on Anglesey, who wrote to us about saying goodbye to someone who once pulled her back from the edge. This is Sienna's story. The waiting room smells of antiseptic and damp coats. Sienna sits with Moss on a blanket she brought from home, the same one he slept on since he was a year old. He is 16 now, a lurcher with a grey muzzle and cloudy eyes, and today is the day she's chosen. That word sits heavy in her chest. Chosen. She filled out the forms online 3 days ago, picking a Tuesday afternoon because it was quiet, because she couldn't bear the thought of anyone else waiting. She chose 2:30. She wrote her name and his name in the boxes. She ticked the box that said yes, she wanted to stay in the room. Moss rests his chin on her knee the way he always has, and she wonders if he knows. She thinks probably not. Dogs don't know about appointments. They know about warmth and familiar smell and the hand that always finds the right spot behind their ear. Nia is outside in the car park. She offered to come in, but Sienna said no, not yet. Nia suspects things about that winter 11 years ago, the way sisters do. She's never pushed. She's driven Sienna to appointments, left dinners on the doorstep, and texted photos of her kids without expecting a reply. The receptionist calls Moss's name, and Sienna lifts him carefully. He's lighter than he used to be. Gethin, the vet, is already in the room. He's been Moss's vet for 9 years. He's seen him through a torn claw, a dental, the slow stiffening of his back legs. He doesn't rush. He asks Sienna if she'd like to sit on the floor, and she would, yes. She sits with Moss across her lap, and Gethin places a blanket over his back legs. The room is quiet, clinical, and full of afternoon light. And Sienna's mind keeps slipping sideways, back to another cold light. The light off the sea at South Stack in January 2014, when the cliffs were white with frost, and she'd walked out there at dusk with no coat and no reason except that she couldn't feel her hands anymore, and she didn't want to. She'd never told anyone what she was doing that night. She was 31, teaching year 3 by day, and coming home to an empty rented flat in Holyhead. Her marriage had ended 6 months earlier, and the depression that came afterwards was thick, physical. She'd stopped eating properly. She'd stopped replying to texts. She told Nia she was just tired. She told her colleague she had a bug. She was very good at being fine. She'd driven to South Stack because the headland felt like the edge of something. She parked and walked out past the lighthouse path in the dark, and the wind was vicious, coming in off the Irish Sea. She remembers the salt on her lips, and the way the cliff path narrowed, and how she was crying and couldn't stop, and how she genuinely believed that the people in her life would carry on fine without her. She believed it the way you believe the sun will rise. She didn't count on Moss. He'd been hers for 2 years by then, a scruffy lurcher from the rescue in Carnarvon, found tied to a gatepost near Betws-y-Coed with a bit of baling twine. He was nervous of loud voices, hated the Hoover, and loved walks more than anything on earth. She'd brought him because she couldn't bear to leave him alone in the flat all evening, and because he needed his walk, and because she was still, even then, looking after him. She was 3 steps from the edge when Moss pulled the leads so hard she stumbled backwards. He planted himself on the path, all 14 kilos of him, leaning his weight against the wind. and he would not move forward. She pulled. He sat down. She pulled again. He lay flat. He looked at her with those brown eyes and refused, absolutely refused, to let her go any further. She sank down beside him on the frozen path, and he climbed into her lap, and she held onto his rough fur and howled into the wind like a child. He stayed there, warm and solid, until her hands stopped shaking, until her breath slowed, until the tide of certainty ebbed enough for her to stand. She drove them home that night and made them both beans on toast, and she never told a soul. In the vet's room, Gethin is explaining what will happen. The first injection, the sedative, so Moss falls asleep. Then the second. Sienna is nodding, her hand on Moss's ribs, feeling each breath. He sighs, the deep sigh of an old dog who's tired. When the sedative takes hold, Moss's head grows heavy in her lap, and Sienna whispers the things she's been practicing. That he's a good boy, that she loves him, that she's sorry. And then, after the second injection, when his breathing has stilled and his body is soft and heavy with absence, Gethin sits back on his heels and says simply, "He's gone." Sienna stays for a long moment, her hand on Moss's side. Then she looks up at Gethin, and something breaks open. She tells him. She tells him about January 2014, about the cliff path, about how Moss wouldn't let her walk any further. Her voice shakes, and the words come out raw and ugly and true. She's carried this for 11 years, and she's saying it now because Moss deserves a witness. Because someone other than her should know what he did. Gethin listens. He doesn't flinch, doesn't look away. When she finishes, he says, quietly, that it sounds like Moss was exactly the dog she needed. Sienna wipes her face with her sleeve and almost smiles, because that's the thing. He was never just a dog. He was the one who stayed. Sometimes the ones who save us can't tell us they love us. They show it by staying, by pulling us back, by sitting with us in the dark until we remember we want to be here. Sienna's story reminds us that loyalty like that deserves to be spoken aloud, even if it takes 11 years to find the words. And the song that means everything to Sienna? It's Keep Breathing by Ingrid Michaelson. A song about holding on, about the quiet stubbornness of staying alive when everything tells you not to. It was playing in her kitchen the morning after that night on the cliffs, with Moss asleep at her feet, and she's never been able to hear it since without thinking of him. Due to copyright, the song isn't in this video, but I will leave a card and a link in the description for you to enjoy Sienna's song. If you have a story you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it. Until next time, this has been Your Story, Your Tune.